Okay, welcome back to day 285. I don't know why, but sometimes the original saved, like, from the Unus Annus channel, and I know I break the rules, but listen, no one wants this. This is punishment enough. Anyways, when I clicked on it, my cat's meowing, one sec. Okay, so yeah, my cat was howling. Anyways, the video I saved directly from YouTube, from the Unus Annus channel, just isn't playing sometimes. It just says video not found, and I'm like, that's weird. So I re-recorded over one of them, like literally 100 days, and I was like, is there a weird thing with that? But I'm like, no, it shouldn't be. Anyways, so I accidentally clicked it and it loads this time. So I wonder how many times it would load. I don't know, it's really weird. Anyways, well, what happened is I didn't take a breath. Whew. I was like, why am I out of breath? I'm like, because you didn't breathe at all. Sorry, why is there a little moon symbol with, looks like the moon's bleeding. Oh, it's supposed to be storms. You may have storms. It must be a little exclamation point, but it looks like a crescent moon that's just bleeding. Anyways, what happened is, right outside the doorway behind me, right on top of the stairs, there's a spider, and I have really bad eyesight, so of course I'm looking at the spider, and I'm like, okay, and it just looks like a little dot with a shadow dot next to it. So I knew he must have been kind of tall, so I was like, okay, but I used my phone to zoom in on him. And yeah, because my sibling's like, no, he's gonna freaking drop. I'm like, he's not gonna drop, it's fine. No, he's hanging down. He's hanging, just his butt's just on the ceiling, that's it. Just the butt. And he's hanging down. And I'm like, you are gonna just drop. So, fun fact, if that happens, it'll be very funny. If it's not on me. Because, oh boy. I don't know, man, it just, why are you on top of the stairs? Why are you just chilling like that for hours? For hours, dude. Anyways. What else? Oh, we rewatched, because my sibling really likes his energy, Michael Reeves. We were watching a 10-minute power hour from the Game Grumps with him on it. And because it was just suggested, because like you watched like 10-minute power hours before, and you watched this, and would you want them together? And I'm like, sure. And what happened was, I'm like, okay. So we just watched it, and when my brain is fried today. I'm sorry. I think it's because I had allergies for the last 5 days in a row. Oh yeah, so they're cutting open this watermelon and give it, obviously they were going to do a really cheap watermelon on purpose because they're just going to destroy it anyways, but he cuts it open, but on the outside it's just really pale white green, and it's really sad looking, and I'm like, this is really sad looking. So then when they open it, it just almost was just the saddest color. And you gotta know, there's a lot of, not me, dear God, I have no idea why I would do it. A lot of people, a lot of YouTube videos, they crank up the saturation to make colors really pop. So this is what the color is popping, you know what I'm saying? And it looks so sad. And I'm just like, that's so sad, because I just bought that day, like that day or right around that time, I bought myself a watermelon from a farm that we drove past, and it's farm fresh watermelon, and I cut it up, and I cut it just literally just a slice, and it smells so amazing. Such a good, powerful watermelon. And I cut it, and I cut it up, and it was real nice, and it's so bright, like it's so bright, and it smells so nice, and it's amazing. And compared to theirs, so what was I saying? Oh, so the watermelon on their show was just so sad, and then ours were just so good. So I had to warn my mom about spiders, because she was coming down the stairs and she was going to the front door. I know that, so I was like, "There's more spiders outside." Like one is right outside our front door, that I saw. So I didn't get a chance to see if he was still there or not. So my question is, how do spiders of the same type find each other? Because there's a spider in our bathroom down here, and God, there's a lot of spiders. Is it fall? Is this what is fall already here? Is that what's going on? Is fall here? Anyways, what happened is there's a spider, tiny body, kind of longer legs, not dead long leg. Dear God, I don't. No, not dead long leg, but it's a spider. And I saw a spider of the same kind walking up to them, and I'm like, how did you find each other? There's a bathroom upstairs. Same deal. Spider, got a mate. Dear God, we're not gonna let that happen though. But check them out. No spider babies in our house. No. Goodbye. Goodbye. You can help us with ants and other bugs, but if you're gonna have babies, you get out of the house. Goodbye. That or you're like on something that I need. But yeah, so what happened is that, how did they find each other? Like, do you smell each other? Is it a smell that does this outside of human range? How do you find each other? It can't be sounds. Is it really just luck? Is it just luck? But how? Anyways, is it etymology? Study of bugs? But there is also the study of words, which I'm going to be real, I don't remember which one's which, so I'm going to go with etymology, study of bugs. If not, well, it is what it is. Anyways, oh yeah, the watermelon. So good. Ours was so good, and it's just sitting in a bowl, and there's like, no matter how much this happens, they're never not good tasting. Like, the juices will gather at the bottom of the bowl, and multiple times, since we got a thing of lemonade, I will mix like a thing of the watermelon water and then the lemonade. Oh my god, real farm stuff is so good, and it's top tier, man. And the watermelon slapped. Personally, I'm a fan of cold watermelon. I chopped up the watermelon, instantly put some in the freezer to chill it, and then the rest I put in the fridge and I eat it cold. That's just my thing. I like cold stuff. I like cold grapes. I like cold strawberries, watermelon. I like cold. That's just how I do. My sibling's the opposite. She likes warm stuff. When then chocolate's opposite. I like my chocolate a little either room temperature or just a tiny bit warm, like about to melt, and like in your hand for a second, it's like a little melty. That for me, it doesn't work too well, I think, with dark chocolate, but I also don't eat dark chocolate, so I like it that way. When my sibling loves frozen chocolate, so we're the opposite. So I'll wash the grapes and I'll be like, why didn't you guys put it away? They're like, I don't like cold grapes. I'm like, well, they're not your grapes, they're my grapes. I bought them, I shared them, but they're mine. You put them in the fridge. Like, we put them back in the fridge. Do not let them just sit out. If you want yours to sit out, you take it off a branch and you put it in a bowl and you let yours, wait, not mine. So, oh man, farm fresh watermelon though. Thinking about it, oh my god. I don't even know what watermelon season is. I wonder. But oh man, it was so good. So good. So good. Yeah, and you're like, oh, what about seeds? Seedless. Seedless. Don't worry. So, oh man, so good. So yeah, yeah, my brain went from etymology to then the book I was reading with the lady I ran into, the older lady, who it's her family's life story, and reading it, the way she writes is so funny because she goes something Greek. I think it was talking about Greek at this point, and she has a lot of information in here, and she's like, everything ology is all Greek, anything with the word ology, it's all Greek. And I just like you know, etymology, any ology, psychology, blah blah ology, blah, 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 anything word than ology. She's like, it's Greek. You can thank the Greeks for all of it. And it's so funny to me because she goes to literally lists like 7 different words, like ologies, talking about any word that has the word ology is Greek. And this isn't, again, this is unrelated to everything else around it, where it's like, my father found himself in Greece, having to learn Greek from a book that he was given because blank, and the whole story of all that. And then it's like, yes, and Greek, the language of Greek, and it's just like going on about ologies. It was so fun to me because it's just like, yeah. And like, and she went through the history, a little mini paragraph of a history of, and again, if you're writing about pocketbooks, it's very, very brief, but you're writing a book about your stories, you don't need a paragraph of pocket watches versus wristwatches. You don't need that. But it was so funny, and I love her so much. I want to read that book. I actually might do it after I do some stuff here, but it might also be too late. I really want to read it so I can give it to my sibling, but I haven't had the time to sit down and do it. Yesterday when I was uploading my video, I had my laptop and I was going through it and I had my headphones on and I realized, I'm like, well, headphone with mic. I have a headphone with mic. So I decided to open up Rosetta Stone. I'm like, I bet you it wouldn't work. Or it would have 8 trillion updates. But unless they haven't updated it at all, it just never updated, and I don't know how to do that. But I bought it forever ago, and I did majority of my other languages. I wasn't really far in those, but with Rosetta Stone, it doesn't really have an explanation button. I wish that they would add a paragraph of what you're learning. Like in Duolingo, they have like the tips at the beginning, like the earlier lessons, they have like tips, and it just like something that I didn't realize the pattern of. Like I was learning die, das, der, and I was like, okay, well, der Mann, der Junge, okay, masculine, but die Frau, and I'm like, okay, die Frau, but it's das Mädchen. So I'm like, okay, das Mädchen, but why? And then, but now suddenly, it's die Männer, die Jungen, die Mädchen, die Frauen. And I was like, okay, so Mädchen's weird, so I'm like, okay. But then I was like thinking, okay, well, you add like an N or an EN to these words to multiply it besides mention. So like a girl. So I was like, oh, okay. But what I didn't pick up is that each of them are now D. D-I-E. Die. But D. So it's like, what? And it didn't hit me. I learned to memorize them, but it never hit me that all multiples are D. At least in this, if not all of them. I don't remember what I said, but it was just like, so it's like Schweine or Schweinen. So instead of having to think about it, it's always D. It's always die Bären, die Schweinen, die Hunden, die Mädchen, die Frauen, die Jungen. And I'm like, do you know how many times I learned that? And I didn't realize. I'm on the third, like, go through of all of these freaking things, and I never realized that that was what they were trying to teach me. So I'm going through Rosetta Stone. I did this before. I'm going through it, and they're trying to teach me it. I never once found that pattern. I don't know why. Never found it. Never clicked. So because they were clearly showing me that in Duolingo or in Rosetta Stone, but I learned it through Duolingo. If I was just given Rosetta Stone, which I was previously, I did this years ago, I wouldn't have realized the pattern, and I didn't realize the pattern. So the idea that if you just, very clearly now, going back, I'm like, oh, that's what they're trying to teach me. But they have like a little answer key. Why can't the little answer key give me what you're trying to tell me? You know? Like, give me those little tips that Duolingo was giving me, because I didn't realize that's what you were trying to say. Like, I will memorize the pattern, but that doesn't mean anything if I don't realize why. I didn't realize all were D. All of them. Also, my German is very horrible pronunciation-wise, so have fun hearing me say those words really, really badly. Because I still have problems, like, with Duolingo. I'll be like, oh yeah, it's D, and I was like, it's D. I'm like, I don't think it's D water, or Wasser. And I was like, D water. And I was like, no, and I'm like, but then it's like, you got it wrong. I'm like, what? I typed it in the way you said it. I was like, no, it's dust and it with water. And I'm like, okay, so some of them you get wrong either way. You just have to memorize which one it is. But the fact that patterns are just, I don't know. Like, I memorized them. I memorized it. But it would have been so much easier if someone just told me all multiples are D. You know? So, I blame Rosetta Stone for that. Anyways, I did it, and I went through about, 4 lessons, just slammed them out. God, they were long, and also kind of boring, because I already did them before, but I never said them out loud, to the point where I really tried. Like, I would mumble under my breath, but with Rosetta Stone, you have to speak it, so, and obviously it's not perfect, but yeah, probably will do that again.